quickly how I am hemming a different technique than what I showed you the last time. So last time we did that stitch, where is it? Let me just see if I can find that hanky. It's a little rolled hem. So this is a rolled hem. You can see it tucks under really nicely and it hides your stitches as well. However, I thought I'd show you how to do a regular hem using a slip stitch, because when it comes to doing those school trousers and the hem on your skirt that's come undone, because let's face it, ready to wear does come apart quite easily. And this is what we're going to do. We need, as usual, whatever fabric or garment you're going to be making the repairs on. And if I don't bump the camera, it won't jiggle. You need a thread. Normal Gutermann or sewing thread is fabulous, because you want to use good thread. Because if you're going to use bad thread, it's going to fluff, it's going to fray, it's going to come apart, it's going to knot. Honestly, it's just not worth it. If you're going to get some thread, get good thread, and just even keep a couple of colors of it. You need a needle, of course, and I like to use a nice sharp needle. Doesn't matter what needle it is, as long as it's not too fat. And it needs to be sharp. Then we are going to fold your hem under. All I do is fold it under once. I'm not going to tell you how much, because how much depends on the garment you're doing up. So for this hanky, I'm just taking it up 5 millimeters, and then I roll it a second time. What I've done here is a little further down from where I'm stitching, I've put in a pin. Don't have to do that, don't normally, but when it comes to these narrow hems like this, I wanted to just keep a nice straight, even amount all the way across. As you can see, I've been working on this one already. Let me show you those stitches. So this is what the stitch formation looks like. You get a little bar coming down, and that's when you put your needle into the base of your fabric here, and you come up half a centimeter or so away. If you're doing something that's a temporary hem, or for, I don't know, let's say, for example, you're in a really big hurry and you don't have time to hem properly, you could do a really big hem, 2 centimeters or so apart your stitches. But if you wanted to stay in really nicely, I suggest a half a centimeter or so away will be ideal. Now, they're not perfect. If you have a look at them, some lean a little bit to the right, some lean a little bit to the left, and I'll show you why that happens and how you can avoid that happening. What I ideally would like is them to be like this, straight, or all slanted. It's up to you. And there's different ways to achieve that. So knot your thread, tuck under your hem, and then draw your thread underneath the work so that your knot is hidden wherever you're starting. Then what I'm going to show you is, there's my fold. I have always tucked my work over my finger when I work. I wish I could do it over 2 fingers, but what I find is when it comes to this one in the middle here, I can't quite pick up as well. So I stopped doing that many years ago. So I only ever put my work where I'm about to do my stitches over 1 finger, like so. There you go. That's what I do. Now, the formation of the stitch is, I've come out on the top here. So my next stitch is going below the fold. Here's the folded fabric. It's tucked under. Absolutely right below that, I'll pick up a couple of threads from the fabric, the main body of the fabric itself. Okay? Just 1 or 2 threads. That's all you want to pick up. You push your needle through and you pull it, and that makes your little horizontal stitch there. If you put your needle directly below there, you'll get a straight stitch. If you put it slightly to the one side, you'll get a slanted stitch, and that's how that works. Once you've done that, you can put your needle under your fold, under the fold, and about 5 millimeters away, pick up the edge of your folded hem. Push that through and give it a pull. You've now formed one stitch. You can see the thread is now coming out on the hem itself, on the fold of the hem. So what we're going to do again is we're going to pick up 1 or 2 threads. On a very fine fabric, you would want to just try and pick up 1 thread. I've got 2 at the moment. I've picked up 2. And now, instead of doing it in 2 steps, like I did, I picked up here and I pulled a thread. And then I picked up on the hem and I pulled a thread. You can do it in one action. So pick up your 2 threads, tuck your needle under, come through the hem edge where the fold is here, push your needle through and pull it out. Okay. If you pull towards the direction of the thread, you're not going to get as many knots in that. Now you want to move your thread out of the way to do your next stitch. So we're picking up a thread right below where we ended the last stitch. Tuck the needle under your hem, get it through and pull. Oh, I'm sorry. I've just bumped the camera again. Rubbish at this, aren't I? Anyway, what's important is that you learn to do the threads, the stitch, not so much the camera, dodgy camera work. Okay, there you've got a stitch. We're going to do that again. Pick up a thread just on the main body. So if it's your trousers, it'll be the trousers leg. Pick that up. Oops, pick that back up. Oh no, I'm going to go back. I want to be right below. I've got 3 stitches there, threads there, and I don't want, so I've got 2 now. I'm right below that. Swing your needle so that it goes underneath your hem. Push it through and pull. All right, another stitch formed. Let's do that again in 2 steps this time. Main body of the work. Pick up a thread, 2 threads, whatever it is you want. Can pull it, and then you go under the hem itself about 5 millimeters away, and there you formed another stitch. So what you're doing is you're creating a stitch which lies under the hem here, and of course you're creating this little horizontal one here as well. So let's do that again. Pick up a couple of threads in your body of the work underneath. Can't see this when it's done, so whether you go right on the edge or a couple of threads in from the edge on this side, it's not going to make a huge difference. My apologies, I'm getting carried away. I've got to keep myself in the frame, don't I? Once more, pick up a couple of threads, 1 or 2. Now this one is going to lie a little bit like a forward slash, because when I picked up that thread, I was a bit to the side of it. Try and do one which is straight now. Picking up a thread on the body of the work. This is quite quick if you're not having to concentrate and show people. And there you've got a straighter stitch. What I tend to do is keep going till I get to a sort of in this position on my finger, and then I move it round and I continue going around. Now, how else could you do this? You could make bigger stitches, as I said. So instead of, let me just reposition that. Instead of doing 5 millimeter or so here, you could do a much bigger stitch, which would come out further along, and that's also absolutely fine. If you've got a really big hem to do, the last thing you need is to be spending and you're in a hurry, because actually hemming is I think it's quite therapeutic, and I don't mind doing it as long as I'm not under pressure. Pick that up, tuck it under and pull. So now you know how to do that. You can hem anything. You can also use this stitch to tie down, stitch down binding, interfacings, all sorts of things. So that's a slip stitch. When I'm finishing off, I simply pick up there, go under, and then instead of, let's say I've run out of thread now, I would do a little stitch here, come out in the same place there, pull it through, and then I might repeat that, but just doing a knot through that thread there. And to do the knot, I just put my needle through the end of the loop and pull it tight. But then what I do is I take my thread and I tuck it up through the hem. I hide it. Okay, I would pull that through and snip it off. And that is how you hem using a slip stitch. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like on the other side, because that's really important, because on some fabrics this would look dreadful. But I want these to look like handmade hankies. That is not blood, luckily. It's a piece of liff. And you can see on this side, you've got that little prick stitch that you did. So where you picked up one thread or two threads, that will determine how big the stitch is on the public side of your garment. That's the outside of your garment. Okay. And also, gosh, because I've been showing you, I haven't been concentrating on my straight line. So we go from this lovely straight line to suddenly a not so straight line. But never mind, that was just for the purposes of showing you that. So you can create this lovely neat work, and then you get this pin prick effect on the outside. If you're using thread that matches your garment, you probably will never notice that. If you're using a contrast thread, you would, but you may want to do that on purpose to give it some, a character. You know, some people want things to look handmade, handcrafted, and that's what this gives you. And that looks really lovely. And you can hide them away by using the same color thread. If you don't have the exact color that you need, I always recommend that you keep gray in your sewing box. Gray goes very well with so many colors and is very useful if you're trying to hide a color from outside. So there you go. I hope that's helped you. It's another technique that you've learned now, how to hem and how to use a slip stitch to hem and make hankies, or you could make serviettes, or you can simply be doing some repair work on some items at home. Wonderful to see you all. Take care. Bye-bye.